All right, let's talk about something truly wild. Imagine a substance sealed away in a tiny vial for something like 1,700 years that can turn from a solid, dark mass into liquid blood right in front of you. Seriously. So what's going on here? Is it a divine miracle, a strange scientific anomaly, or maybe something else entirely? Today, we're going to dive into the enduring mystery of the blood of Saint Januarius. So how is this even possible? How can dried 1,700-year-old blood just liquefy? I mean, it's a question that has absolutely captivated believers and, totally baffled scientists for centuries. It sounds like something out of a movie, right? But for the city of Naples, this is a very real thing that happens, and it holds the key to the entire city's hopes and fears. And we're not talking about some dusty old legend here. This is a living, breathing tradition that's completely woven into the fabric of Naples, Italy. Right there in the heart of the city, they believe their fate is literally tied to what happens with this ancient blood. They call it the prodigy of San Gennaro, their patron saint. So to really get why this blood is such a big deal, we've got to go back, way back. We need to understand the man behind the legend. Who exactly was Januarius? Okay, so his story is pretty incredible. He starts as a bishop, but then gets arrested during this huge persecution of Christians under Emperor Diocletian. And the legends, I mean, they're wild. They say he was thrown into a furnace and was totally unharmed. Then they threw him to wild beasts, and the animals just knelt down and refused to attack him. It's nuts. So in the end, the Romans had to behead him, and right at that moment, a follower named Eusebia supposedly collected his blood in a vial, saving it forever. So you have this ancient relic, this blood collected centuries ago. How does that connect to modern-day Naples? Well, like I said, this isn't just a history lesson. It's a real event that grips the entire city, and it happens 3 times every single year. Yeah, this vial of blood isn't locked away in some dusty vault. Nope, it's the absolute centerpiece of a huge public ritual. The reliquary, which holds these 2 little glass vials, is brought out in front of thousands of people. They all pack into the Naples Cathedral, waiting, hoping to see something amazing. 3. That's how many times a year the city holds its breath to see if this dried, dark, solid stuff will turn back into liquid. You can just imagine the atmosphere in that cathedral. It's got to be absolutely electric, just buzzing with prayer and anticipation. And each of these 3 dates is super significant. They're not just random. You've got his feast day, the day his relics were moved to Naples, and the anniversary of when he supposedly saved the city from a massive eruption of Mount Vesuvius. So each time they do this, it's like they're reconnecting with their history and reaffirming this incredible bond between the saint and his city. But here's the thing. This isn't just about remembrance. For the people of Naples, this is an omen, a forecast for their future. If the blood liquefies, it's a good sign. You can practically hear the whole city breathe a sigh of relief. But if it doesn't, oh man, the anxiety is real. It's seen as a sign of impending disaster. And you can see why they get so anxious when you look at the track record. A devastating plague in 1527? The blood didn't liquefy. The Nazi occupation during World War II? It didn't liquefy. A major earthquake in 1980. Again, it failed. These aren't small things. We're talking about the darkest moments in the city's history, which makes the stakes feel incredibly high every single time. So with stakes this high, it's no surprise that this has become a huge debate. The central question of science versus faith. Is this a genuine miracle, a sign of a saint's power protecting a city? Or is there some kind of scientific explanation for what's happening? All right, let's get into the science. The leading theory has a fancy name, thixotropy. But the concept is actually pretty simple. Think about a bottle of ketchup. It's thick, right? Kinda stuck. But what do? You shake it, and suddenly it flows. That's thixotropy. The idea here is that the stuff in the vial might be a special kind of gel that becomes liquid just from the small movements of being handled during the ceremony. And here's the kicker. Back in the 90s, some Italian chemists actually created a substance just like this. They used materials that would have been available way back in the 14th century, and it visually did the exact same thing. But, and this is a big but, the church has never allowed the vial to be opened for testing. So thixotropy is a really compelling theory, but it's not definitive proof. So where does the Catholic Church stand on all this? Well, their position is actually pretty interesting. It's not a simple yes, it's a miracle. They're very careful with their words. They don't officially call it a miracle in the strict sense of the word. Instead, they call it a prodigy. Think of it as an extraordinary, unexplained event that's meant to encourage faith. It's a subtle but important distinction. Basically, the church is okay with people finding faith and inspiration in this event. They permit the veneration, but they stop short of making an official supernatural claim. And they're also quick to point out that this isn't some kind of crystal ball for predicting the future. For them, the real takeaway is the example of the saint's life, his courage and his sacrifice. That's the important part. So let's just step back for a second. Why are we still talking about this after so many centuries? I think it's because whether you're a person of science or a person of faith, you have to admit the story of San Gennaro's blood is just undeniably powerful. It's become so much more than just a possible chemical reaction or a divine sign. It's truly the cultural heartbeat of Naples. It's this amazing intersection where faith, tradition, and civic pride all come together. It's what connects the city to its past, to its saint, and to its hopes for the future. And in the end, that's what we're left with. The vial is sealed, the mystery is still there, so it really comes down to a question that doesn't have an easy answer. What do you think is going on? Is it a divine miracle? A really clever, centuries-old chemical trick? Or maybe, just maybe, is it something that shows us the incredible power of belief itself?